Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great honour to be invited to address you this afternoon, and thank you very much indeed, Brendan, for those kind words. It's true that my book got to number 2 on the bestseller list, beaten only by Michael Jackson. the singer rather than the soldier. I wouldn't have minded the soldier so much. I'd like to talk to you today about Winston Churchill's techniques of leadership, the way in which he managed to inspire a nation and to win the Second World War. Some of these techniques, some of these sort of secrets of leadership are things that can be taken into everyday life, into business life, into non-political life. Others, needless to say, can't. However well you do in your organisations, ladies and gentlemen, you are not going to be able to order the invasion of Italy. Isaiah Berlin famously said that Leo Tolstoy was a fox who wrongly believed that he was a hedgehog, someone who knew everything about the little things about human nature and human behaviour, but who wanted to be someone who knew one big thing about the moral nature of the universe. Winston Churchill was the classic political hedgehog. The reason he became Prime Minister, the reason that he became such an iconic figure, was that he understood the one major thing of his time, which was the fundamental evil of Nazism and the complete inability to appease the Nazis. At a time when he was virtually the only person in frontline politics to argue this, he kept arguing it for 10 years from the time that he left the Shadow Cabinet in 1931. 8 years at least, and he was not put off arguing it by the fact that he was written off as a warmonger, attacked in the press constantly, attacked in the House of Commons, had his judgment questioned. Those years of wilderness were what gave him the moral power, the moral courage and force to demand the premiership from the outgoing Neville Chamberlain in 1940. So he was the ultimate, history's ultimate hedgehog. And this came from his tenacity, from his foresight, and much of that came from his reading of history, his fascination for history. He was a great historian himself, of course, who won the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1953 because of his history writing, and was a lifelong reader of history. He was also, of course, immensely, as I mentioned, morally courageous, but also physically courageous. From his earliest days, when he heard bullets whistle past his ear in the northwest frontier, in the Malakand field force, when he was a young subaltern in the northwest frontier of India. He took part in the last great cavalry charge at the Battle of Omdurman. He was captured and escaped from a Boer prisoner of war camp. What people knew by the time, and of course, in the First World War, he commanded his regiment in the trenches. What people knew was that when they had Winston Churchill ask them for something in the Second World War that required great physical courage, he was somebody who had himself led from the front, himself was capable of demanding these things of people because they knew that he himself had that kind of courage. He had that setting of personal example. He also was a great one for, and this does translate, of course, into the business life, for being on the spot. Next door, in this fantastic museum, my favourite museum in the world, needless to say, but I really recommend you to go around it afterwards, anyone who hasn't. It's a wonderful museum to his life and his achievements. And one of the exhibits is of all of the times that he left Britain during the Second World War to travel to the key places, the battlefields, the conferences, the 10 great conferences that took place during the Second World War. And in the course of it, this 69-year-old man travelled no fewer than 105,728 miles outside the United Kingdom.